Well, I see that the tools at Fox News have decided that the issue of paying ransom for POWs won't be brought up during this campaign season.
This is my interpretation of the debate last night. It's very simple. No global war on terror. We lose and retreat in Iraq. We're going to raise your taxes. National health care.
Yeah. By the way, when we say raise the taxes, we ought to just explain what we mean by that. We don't just mean that you'll go from 35 to 40 in the top bracket. What she's going to do, any of them are going to do, is they will eliminate the $99,000 cap on Social Security taxes.
Right.
So if you're self-employed and you make $200,000, you're going to have to pay 12.5% between $100,000 and $200,000.
Nearly twice the largest increase.
You're talking about almost a 1/3 increase in everybody's taxes.
It's amazing. I want to ask you, your latest column deals with the poll numbers. Just listening to the agenda last night, does that help them in a general election? I know they're trying to outflank each other for the nomination and appeal to the extreme base, but how does that play in the general election?
There was one big problem with the debate last night for Hillary. The abortion word was never mentioned. It dominated the Republican debate, but it wasn't even mentioned last night.
Why is that a problem?
Because that's her base. That's her base issue. The reason she went up in the polls after the last debate, I think, was because of the partial birth abortion decision. She needs to convince the Democratic electorate that the right to choose is on the line, that Roe v. Wade's going to be repealed and that she can turn it around. And she made a big mistake in not forcing the debate over to abortion.
You exposed last week on this very program this controversy the Clintons have about where the source of their income is coming, Info USA. There's been a follow-up to that they've had nearly $1 million worth of free jet use from this corporation.
$1 million and $3.3 million of personal income to Bill Clinton from a company that makes its living selling companies elderly with Alzheimer's so they can be fleeced by direct marketers.
Slate reports that on page 93 of one of these new books coming out, the Girth Venata book, that they literally talk about Hillary and describe a scene where she would listen to recorded audio tape conversations taken by her operatives.
Right.
Now, this goes back to a lot of what you would describe as secret police.
Yeah. Hillary was in charge of the secret police. Hillary was in charge of the eavesdropping, the damage control operation. Betsy Wright, who was her person, was in charge of that. And the Bimbo Patrol, they called it.
Right,
but it was more than that. By the way, we do a disservice when we say these Clinton books. One of them is a cream puff, Carl Bernstein's book. The other one is a tough, incisive, accurate piece of investigative reporting.
It's interesting you say that.
Book, Her Way.
Well, Gert's book, it's interesting. Matt Drudge has put up on his website, just up there right now, that editors of the New York Times are set to publish a highly critical review of the book. These are two of their best, most well-respected
And the Times
reporters.
just serialized it in their magazine last week.
And what was fascinating about that, we have on Hannity's America, on my radio show, and right here on this program, shown the inconsistencies and the evolution of Hillary on Iraq, culminating with what you referred to just a few minutes ago. 5 weeks ago, she said she wouldn't defund the troops.
That's right.
She voted for the war. She bragged about capturing Saddam. They capture that in detail in this book.
I know, it's great. And by the way, Jeff Girth, just so people realize who he is the one that broke the Whitewater scandal.
That's right.
Back in the
Hardly
early 80s.
lacking in credentials.
Not exactly fans of the Clintons. And by the way, this idea of them having a 20-year plan to take over the presidency has been discredited by the very source that they use in the Girth book, which she said it's not true, didn't happen. They never had that plan.
I was never privy to that conversation, but I do know that very clearly in 1990, Hillary retained me to poll her running for governor of Arkansas. So obviously the idea
and she said it. She said over the years she flirted with it very briefly and then decided not to
run.
It
was a poll.
Thank you for being with us. That's how you flirt, with polls. A very revealing look at the man who wants to be president. We'll speak with author Bob Shrum, who says he's blowing the lid off John Edwards, so he claims. And Democrats went head-to-head last night in another debate, as we just talked about. And forget body language. We're going to look at their actual language and analyze what they really were trying to say coming up.